Ooh, what is going on? Yo, 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 yo. Man, I need my coffee. I need my coffee, alright? You guys have had your coffee. I haven't had my coffee yet. Jesse, what's going on? Gosh, you have a mobile Y, do some chores. Get your stream. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good to see you, Jesse. Haven't seen you in a while. There he is. Our king. I was gonna say, Kevin, are you still in bed, or did you make your way to the kitchen so you can brew some coffee with me? If you're thinking of making yourself a second coffee servant, why don't you go ahead and do that with me so we can have our coffee together. I haven't done a coffee stream like this in a while, so where I brew actually at my desk. Go ahead and get started though, because I want that coffee. So I pre-ground everything. I'm trying to figure out ways how to do brew coffee from my kitchen, because I can connect over NDI, you know, using my camera, or my phone as a camera source. But just unfortunately in this this apartment, there's just the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth is terrible, so like, yeah, it's like spotty. Kevin's still in bed. I have a V8 Energy trying to decide if I can also have a coffee without anxiety. Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about. Sometimes I'm like that with like freaking soda. Like I have a bunch of coffee during the day and then we go out to eat or something like that. I'm worried about having like Coke or something. Music is a little louder than the mic. Okay, let me turn down the music then. Okay, how's that sounding? Am I still fighting with the mic? Let's do a 3-to-1 ratio bloom. 40 grams of coffee we're brewing. Do a 15-to-1 ratio. A 3-to-1 ratio bloom is brewing 40 grams of coffee, be 120 grams of water just for the bloom. That. And I'm gonna try it out, like the actual grounds. Sometimes I do that. I know some people do this technique to get familiarized with the coffee. To actually eat the whole coffee bean. It's like licking the cookie dough from the spoon, you know? Way better. Okay, good, good. Also, let me just bring the mic up closer to me. Well, let me get out of frame. Wait about 2 minutes. There's actually new studies coming out that waiting for your bloom to hit the 2-minute mark is actually better at fully saturating and getting the most out of the coffee. Usually for like I'm making just like a single cup, not a batch, I'll do like 45-second bloom. My old technique was 45-second bloom for 1 cup, 30 grams, add another 15 for every like 10 grams you add, I would add like another 15 seconds on a wait time for the bloom. But more recently it's just been like either 45 for a single pour over, or just 2, no matter if it's 30 grams, 60, or 40 grams, 50 grams. Because the whole point being is that you want to wait 2 minutes before you start this actual brewing is you want the grounds to fully saturate, prepped for ultimate extraction. See, Apple's introducing Unity camera with the next Mac OS. You'll be able to use your iPhone as a camera with your Mac. Yeah, I saw that. It's nice to see they're gonna have like built-in features like that, because using like right now this is a this camera right here is shooting down. This is the this is Ali's old iPhone 7. I mean, look at the quality of that. Like this right here, this is my Razer Kaio, an $80 camera that's specifically a webcam. And in terms of quality, this phone, whose job is to be a phone, has a better camera than whose job is to literally be a camera. So yeah, that was a smart move on Apple. People's phones, even this old iPhone 7 looks phenomenal. That's what I tell everybody. I'm like, what's the cheapest camera option? Like, literally your phone, something you already have. Like, so I could see people not wanting to do that if they only have one phone, but you know, I've held on to like all my old iPhones. Like I had my OG iPhone from, well, it's not the first iPhone, but it's OG to me. It's the 3G from 2008. Then I got the 4S from 2011. Then I got the 6 Plus from 2014. I've never thrown them out. But I mean, you can't really do anything with them. I just never thrown them out. But point being is that this iPhone 7 and my iPhone 6 are sitting, like I could literally use those as cameras. Like they're old, but they could be used as cameras. And the camera quality is just superior, even like a webcam. But yeah, if you have like your old phone, then yeah, your old phone is cheaper than buying a webcam. Like actually, this phone, in terms of quality, is just below actually getting a DSLR camera. There's no phone on the market, or there's no webcam on the market right now that looks as good as as your phone camera. A $200 Logitech camera doesn't look this good. Abram Media, whatever it might be, nothing looks as good as the camera on your iPhone or even your Android. They're superior cameras, and most of the apps. So like you can use even like they have free versions of the app. You can only do like a max of like 480p or something like that, and then there's a watermark, but you can like crop it in OBS. And 480p on your phone though looks like as good as like 1080p or 720p on like a webcam. But the pro version of like Epoch Cam, which is what I use here, was like $5.99. It's pretty cheap. Hey, it is done brewing. Let me go dump the filter, right back. Also figure out space on the desk. This is what we're brewing up today. Anybody can see it. Blurring it out a little bit because I have that blur effect, but it's from a roaster called I think it's Portuguese, so too bad Steph's not on here to help me pronounce it correctly. But do you see that? It's like Peixoto or something like that. Peixoto. Anyways, but it's actually a Brazilian coffee. Cool bag. Like the artwork they got inside the bag, if it will actually show without blurring it out. Little sticker here, but yeah, it's actually a Brazilian coffee. But the roaster I think is from like Arizona or something. Anyways. Hey guys, dude, what is up, Nate? Joined us just in time for some coffee, bro. Alright, let me take some of this stuff back to the kitchen. Coffee cup. The kettle. In addition to getting my coffee cup, I also some food because I've not had breakfast yet. I need to readjust cameras and all that stuff. Ugh. Just ride my bike at the beach. Nice. Sounds fun. Great weather though right now, so. So this is what it looks like when the chroma key filter is off. Two different themes. Does it follow me? AI? Oh, no. Not well. Okay. Oh, Kevin, did you make your coffee yet? You still in bed? Gonna require an update. Add the key filter back in the kitchen. Boom. That's a little better. Now let's lower the mic. Okay, I'm back. Mom called me. No coffee yet. Too much effort to get up right now. That foot. If I could come over and brew you coffee, would. Go ahead and stir it. Pour it. Or it's very rare I have to pour my coffee in front of people on a getting that ready. People trying to. Hey. would pay you to come make me coffee. Too hot to drink, but we're gonna. I'll be popping in from time to time. I forgot about reception issues. Yeah, that's okay, Nate. No problem. No problem at all. Anyways, so this next portion of the stream, we're gonna be chilling and watching some coffee videos. My routine is actually a lot. I like to actually watch like coffee channels up too of like well-known. I kind of like to watch them and listen in terms of, I don't know, what's new out there, scientific scholarly level stuff of how to coffee better. I haven't used my French press in several weeks. I went back to Keurig for a while. Yeah, you know, and I don't mean anything by it, but like, it's just easy. I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot of work sometimes. Like for me to keep it up, I got pretty good motivation to coffee annually as I do. It's a lot of work, and I don't mean that to like pride myself or anything. The point is that like what's keeping me going is like motivation. And plus, it's something I'm really into more than like the normal person. So, like I can imagine like something being really exciting, like coffee, and like it's hard to be that motivated. Because like I'm into it. I worked in the industry. I want to open my own coffee shop. I'm still like at home. I'm like a coffee nerd. So like that's what keeps me going. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie though. I think it would be wrong for basically have this facade like, all this energy I put into brewing coffee takes as much energy as brewing a Keurig. It's a lot of work. They do make like especially like batch brewers, like when you have like coffee pots. Like so the problem with most coffee pots, why you see most like people that are like into like specialty coffee, the reason why they don't use hold that thought. I'm not sure if I'm telling you or me to hold that. Both need to hold it. Okay, there we go. Oh, okay. So the point is, so if you see a lot of people that like specialty coffee like me, you're like, why do they go all this extra steps to make coffee when you can just brew it on a pot? Like, they just like, are they just trying to make it harder than it really is? Well, actually, like you produce better tasting coffee on like brew devices, brew gear like this, like a Chemex or whatever. Yeah, because the hands-on detail of actually like going in and like controlling all the variables versus like a machine you just turn it on, it's like a spray head. And the issues with a lot of like batch brewers, they say, is that batch brewers, like most batch brewers, not the specialty kind, they've fixed a lot of these issues, but most like Mr. Coffee or Hamilton Beach or Cuisinart or whatever, all these things, there's a couple issues. The water isn't hot enough. I mean, the water is hot, so if you stick your hand in the shower head and like put your finger underneath the shower head, you'll get burned. But there's still a gap of what the temperature should be at, but I'm guessing it's like for issues of like legal issues, or maybe just like it would cost them more to manufacture something able to hold higher temperature water. But one is, the hotter your water is, the more you get out of your coffee. If that makes sense. The one is usually like those brewers like that, they don't get hot enough. Now you're not getting as much from the coffee. And then number two, the spray heads, the way they're designed, they're not that great. So in terms of like, if you open up and like see, like it sprays in one spot on the coffee bed, right? Like spraying it, like this is the coffee bed, this is the spray head. It sprays in one spot. The only problem is that in between the stream, there's dry spots that the stream is not hitting. So although they're designed to evenly space where the water's dropping, there's still areas that the spray head's not hitting. And a lot of times these cheaper spray heads, though, sometimes it's not even actual like a good spray inside. Sometimes it's like dribbling. Like I've opened up like the top of a coffee machine to look at this head. A lot of times it's like some of them like aren't even fully like functioning properly. It's like you peek in, it's like just like dribbling out of like a couple of holes, and then yeah, and then if you look at your coffee bed, when you open it up and you see like it looks like a crater and all this coffee pushed up on the walls, that means that like all the coffee on the sides and on the walls, that didn't even get touched. So not only are you getting weak coffee, but you're also getting a combination of like, you're actually getting a combination of two things when you brew coffee with like a crappy like a batch brewer. You're getting under extracted and over extracted coffee, right? So those are the two extremes. So a good extracted coffee is like in the middle, there's under, and then there's over extracted. Over extracted is like, it's like basically, it's like anything else, like tea or anything else that maybe you're cooking with. Like you can't pull any more from whatever you're trying to extract. Like it's giving you all it can. So now, over extraction is you're taking more than it's able to give, and so now you start pulling funky flavors from whatever the food or the coffee, the tea is, because there's nothing in there more it can give you. So now you're pulling like weird stuff from it, like beyond what it's meant to be giving you. And then under extracted just means it hasn't been extracted enough, and so under extracted coffee and over extracted coffee doesn't taste good. Under extracted is the best way I can describe it. It's like just like you're not cooking something all the way, you know? Like imagine you're cooking like ramen, right? Like in a cup of noodles, and like there's like spots like your water didn't hit, so then it's like kind of dry, weird, like crunchy pieces of like ramen noodles in that cup. But there's some that are fully cooked. There's some that, you know, like if you didn't use hot enough water or leave it in there long enough, right? Like that's like it's like undercooked. It's under extracted. So a lot of times like coffee pots, they produce over extracted, under extracted coffee mixed, and that's what you get in your cup. And so that's why you're like, I mean, there's a lot of variables, but like that's one variable is like, why does my coffee why does my drip coffee I make at home do not taste as good as does not taste as good as the coffee I get at Starbucks? That's one variable to a list of variables. Ready for me and coffee? Me and the Matthews are getting some sus coffee right now. What's going on, bro? Dude, that's actually hilarious. Sus coffee. Anyways, let's watch a coffee video together. Something not too. Okay, here we go. This might be interesting to coffee snobs and non-coffee. You guys ever heard of this coffee? It's called like Kopi Luwak Civet coffee. James will explain it. Hopefully, I've never seen this video, but I'll just tell you right now from what I know. The coffee industry condemns coffee from the animals that like eat. So have you heard of like coffee poop, or like coffee that's made from like animal poop? Or they get it from animal poop, and then it's like the most expensive coffee in the world. So without him, like even though he's an expert, without him playing his video, like I already know the answer. That like, I wouldn't know the answer if it's disgusting or delightful. I only have in theory what it could taste like, but I'll just tell you right now, across the board, it's been objectively condemned by the actual coffee industry across the world. So anybody who recognizes coffee, like the Specialty Coffee Association, SCA, everybody has condemned this kind of coffee. This is the coffee that like animals, they eat coffee beans, like green coffee, right? Unroasted coffee off the ground, and then they digest it, and then they poop it out, and people go and harvest it, and they make coffee with it. So actually, it's not that great of coffee, number one, but number two, they've taken it to a whole new level where they actually like in controlled environments, almost like chicken coops. They like put these animals in like really like abusive, um, just pretty terrible environments and like force them to eat these things. Coffee. It's actually this coffee is actually condemned, despite what people might say. It's literally condemned by the Coffee Association. Just arrived at Manhattan. Oh, nice. Working your way there, huh? Making your way downtown. Nathan TSer on his bike. Anyways, let's watch the video. Wait, hold up now. Hey, bro. Because the HD60 is not capturing the sound. Freaking A, man. Give me a second. I'm gonna restart the gaming PC. Hey, oh, you know what's nice about a dual PC setup? Um, is that I can restart my PC without having to end the stream. Unless there's a problem um, with the streaming PC. Sorry, I realized I started watching the video and I didn't see the levels coming through. Because basically, so my laptop is this PC, so it's capturing video from like the same way you would capture a console or something like that, capturing my gaming PC with the capture card laptop. So I realized that the sound audio wasn't coming through. I was like, wait a second, we're like a minute into this video and like nobody knows I've started playing a video. Hmm. This right here, boy. Trader Joe's cookie butter. Except cookies. There we go. Watch, you're gonna hear this. Man, come on. Technical difficulties, dude. Frick this. Gosh. I know why people don't. Except I put up with it. Poopy. Boy. There we go. You're surprised how unplugging and plugging things back in actually works. My goodness, he's back. So this is the side of streaming that most people are just get so discouraged on. You know, it's like everything's working one day, and then the next stream nothing's working. Okay, all right. Now let's see. 60 plus. Here we go. Got audio, folks. Okay, now let's finally get to watching that video.
You're only a touch away from getting the...
Today we're talking about Kopi Luwak. It's one of the most expensive coffees you'll see out there. The price is often kind of a big deal. I know there are more expensive coffees, but Kopi Luwak does still technically hold the Guinness World Record for the most expensive coffee. I get a lot of messages about it. Is it worth the money? Is it a good idea? Does it taste better? Do people really drink it? If you're not familiar with Kopi Luwak, here is a quick summary. Kopi Luwak translates from the Indonesian as civet coffee. It's made by collecting the droppings of an Asian palm civet that has been eating coffee cherries, and from its feces you can recover the undigested seeds that you can then clean up, roast, brew, and drink. You'll see it also sold as sometimes ferret coffee or weasel coffee if it comes from neighbouring producing countries in that kind of a region. The marketing story is that there is a kind of novel fermentation that goes on inside the gut of the palm civet that changes the coffee. It ends up producing what's supposed to be a less bitter, smoother, delightful cup of coffee. Is this true? How did anyone even find this out? Would I recommend that you try it? Is it the real deal, or is it just some kind of coffee equivalent of ortolan for the caffeine-hungry fikophile? Have I tried Kopi Luwak? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I might have done, but I don't know. Let me explain. And to do that, we should begin with the origin stories of Kopi Luwak. It's the 19th century. Dutch colonists have come to Indonesia and, seeing the opportunity of cheap land and cheap labour, have forced local people to grow coffee for them. Now, in typical fashion, those people are not allowed to enjoy or consume any of the coffee they're growing. They can't enjoy the fruits of their labours. But a few of them notice that the civets are eating the coffee. And then they notice that the civets are leaving the seeds in their stool intact. And some brave soul decides to kind of wash them off, roast them, grind them, brew them, and declares it to be delicious. And the Dutch, seeing some value that they're not extracting, well, they jump on that and start exporting it too. And that's the beginnings of Kopi Luwak. And this is a story you see repeated in the marketing copy of lots of companies who sell this, kind of with a straight face. It's not a good story. Coffee has a lot of worse stories. There's some terrible stories in coffee's history, but this is not a good one and not really worth celebrating. But that's the origins of Kopi Luwak. Kopi Luwak lives around the fringes of coffee for a while, and then in 2003, Oprah Winfrey brings it to the forefront by brewing some on telly, and then in 2007, there is a film called The Bucket List that really catapults Kopi Luwak into the public conscious.
Kopi Luwak.
I heard about Kopi Luwak pretty early on in my career, and I kind of understood the draw of it. People like to taste disgusting things that are also kind of safe. People like to kind of push their boundaries. So I kind of understood, the desire for people to taste something like this, but I don't think people really understood the implications of their interest in it. Now, up until this point, the production of Kopi Luwak had been incredibly small. Estimates were in the kind of low hundreds of kilos per year on the upper end. And suddenly there's this huge demand for it. People are willing to pay very high prices for it, and then no one really knows what it's supposed to taste like. Inevitably, supply is going to find a way to meet that demand, and the first thing to kind of scale up to do it was fraud. Now, this basically meant people were taking low grades of coffee and basically saying, no, this is Kopi Luwak. And you would taste it and you would say, this doesn't taste very nice. And they could kind of wave it away by saying, well, what did you expect? Fraud has happened in coffee over the years in lots of different places. It wasn't uncommon for people to smuggle coffee across borders, let's say from Ecuador to Colombia, because Colombian coffee was able to attain a higher price than Ecuadorian coffee at the time. This was a different kind of fraud, but it led to kind of scientific analysis to kind of understand if there were actual chemical markers to prove that Kopi Luwak was Kopi Luwak. And it turns out there are. You can do kind of assessments of the aromatic compounds and other aspects of the raw coffee and say definitively this is from the gut of an Asian palm civet or it's not. But no one's doing those tests. there's no real incentive to do them for many people. They just want to sell this thing at a premium price, and they don't want to take a chance.
So for all you know, you could be like spending $200 bag of this special coffee, and it's just like Folgers.
That what they have isn't the real deal. I think way back in sort of 2005, 2006, someone told me that 4 times more Kopi Luwak was sold than was actually produced. And this was before the bucket list kicked everything off. So I'd imagine that problem is only getting worse. The second aspect of Kopi Luwak production to scale up with demand was caged civet
This is what I was talking about before I even played.
coffee production. Essentially, people would capture wild civets, cage them, and force feed them coffee, kind of battery farming Kopi Luwak. I did read one paper that almost proudly stated that over the course of a season of coffee harvest, a single civet could produce 14 kilos of finished product, though I'm pretty sure that someone has found a way to force more coffee cherries into that civet and up the kind of yield from them, which is disgusting. Caged civets suffer in just about every single way. They're living in cramped, dirty cages. They are force-fed a diet of just coffee cherries, which is not healthy for them. It's just a life of cruelty and captivity, and it is awful. You'll see almost all Kopi Luwak sold as wild civet coffee, but you'll realize pretty quickly this simply cannot be the case. And actually back in 2013, the BBC did an undercover investigation into one of the wild producers and indeed found caged civet farming at the heart of it. I don't think this is uncommon. The stakes are too high. There's too much incentive. There's too much money to sort of stop this kind of fraud happening. Now, the original story goes that these wild civets would eat only the ripest coffee cherries. And then once they were in the gut, combined with their kind of diverse diet, you had this really unique fermentation going on. There is some science to support this. There are kind of unique chemical markers around Kopi Luwak. For example, Kopi Luwak seems to have a lower protein content at the end of that kind of process. Some would argue that the proteins get involved in a lot of kind of roasting reactions that lead to some more bitter compounds, and this, they say, is why Kopi Luwak is less bitter. In addition, Kopi Luwak does have less caffeine in it, though it's a pretty small reduction. This is not a natural decaf. Now, all of this cruelty, all of this potential for fraud, all this money, is it really worth it at the end of it? Well, most seasoned coffee tasters who are doing blind tastings of Kopi Luwak generally report that it doesn't taste very good. My own experience? Well, I was told I was tasting Kopi Luwak, and what I tasted was low acidity. It wasn't unusually low in bitterness. It was kind of earthy and a little bit wild, and it was not particularly delicious, and it kind of reminded me of a number of other low-quality coffees that have had similar attributes. Of course, I cannot be 100% certain that what I tasted was actually Kopi Luwak, despite the assurances of everyone around me. So with you knowing now what I know about Kopi Luwak, I hope it makes sense that I would say, please don't drink this coffee. Please don't fund an unnecessary and cruel aspect of the coffee industry. If you've got money to spend and you want to kind of blow someone's mind, there are some really weird and wonderful fermentations that are done in a safe way, that are way more traceable, that are just way more interesting and ultimately enjoyable. Go and pick up an experimental fermentation from one of a host of different roasters who have that amongst their offerings. Now, I have a terrible feeling that someone watching this is going to think, ooh, an issue with transparency. That's a problem that the blockchain could solve. No. You can still submit false, fraudulent information to the blockchain, and all you're doing is writing with a very permanent, very wasteful marker into the ledger. In fact, I'd argue that it would probably enable fraud by giving a kind of veneer of authenticity to fraudulent products. So please, no blockchain. If at the end of all of this you're still desperate to try a gastric fermentation and you want absolute traceability and transparency, then you can take inspiration from a gentleman from Portland, Oregon. Green coffee is pretty widely available. You can pick it up pretty cheaply, and if you can manage to get it down without chewing, then it'll probably survive intact through your own processing. And you'd have to kind of harvest it and wash it and clean it and roast it and brew it. Submit false, fraudulent information fraud by giving a kind of veneer of authenticity. Of all of this, you're still desperate to try a gastric fermentation and you want absolute traceability and transparency, then you can take inspiration from...
Dude, okay, that passed so fast. What he's showing right here, I didn't think anything of it. I will produce human Kopi Luwak for you. What's I noticed? I've been growing yellow bourbon greenhouse for a couple. Will personally test this coffee and mimic the Cope by Luwak process. I roast this coffees. Oh, good holidays. I'm 47 healthy, won't guarantee. Oh my gosh, that passed so quick. I was just smiling and nothing. This is a whole other video in and of its own. My gosh, this is a whole topic. Some dude is swallowing coffee cherries whole, pooping it out, and selling it. Yo, I have never heard this. It's on Portland Craigslist. Oh my gosh. Dudes, look, this dude is literally saying "Oh, forget the animals, I'll do it for you. I'll poop it out, come get it. I'll charge you $30 a pound." Holy moly, that was passed over like that comment you just said was like a matter of a second, and it's like, wait, what did I just hear?
From a gentleman from Portland, Oregon. You know, green coffee is pretty widely available. You can pick it up pretty cheaply. And if you can manage to get it down without chewing, then it'll probably survive intact through your own processing. And you'd have to kind of harvest it and wash it and clean it and roast it and brew it. But if that disgusts you, why are you even interested in Kopi Luwak in the first place? To be clear, I'm actually not recommending you eat green coffee. Please don't eat green coffee. I'm just saying someone did that. It's an option, but really just don't. I'm going to wrap it up there. That is my take on Kopi Luwak. It's why I find it so broadly disgusting in kind of every single way. Now I'd like to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Have I put you off it? I hope I haven't made you more curious about it, but let me know if I have. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. But for now, I'll say thank you so much for watching.
Excuse me. Pretty interesting, right? Green coffee. Yeah, so essentially, that's what they call coffee before it's roasted, because you know what coffee looks like. Those who don't know, so green coffee is like what they call coffee that's so coffee is essentially a seed. Did you guys know that? Okay, these are coffee cherries right here. Coffee looks like this, and then I mean, obviously the green cherries are unripe, but when they're ripe, they start to turn red like this. It actually looks like cherry when so coffee beans actually seeds. We call them beans because I forgot the origin of why we started to call it, but yeah, they're literally seeds. It's like one of those things where have you heard of refried beans? So refried beans is actually an incorrect translation of the fried yoles. So that's how you pronounce it, right? Fried beans. So there's no refrying. There's no refrying. You're not frying and then frying again. There's no refrying of that. So it's just a really bad translation. Fried beans. And then the same thing is it just some more people just started calling coffee beans. Not, they're literally seeds from a coffee cherry plant. They've shown you. So, anyways, to answer your question, Nate, yeah. So beans, coffee beans look harvest them. They look like this. And when you roast them, that's when they start looking like this brown color. So yeah. But anyways, I kind of knew piecing things together that that type of coffee that people's like are talking about, the ferret coffee, wheat coffee, whatever, um, is like not that good at coffee, and like, but people have the perception that it's good. So here's what I mean: there's some truth in just like falseness to that. So, and the best analogy I can give. So for those of you who are anyone like coffee knowledgeable and have like had like coffee, like or like into coffee, if you've had cold brew coffee, I mean cold brew coffee in the strictest term, not what McDonald's or Wendy uh people call cold brew, like when they're really it's really just iced coffee. I'm talking about cold brew, like coffee is brewed with cold water and brews over like a 12 plus hour time, like sun tea, right? So if you've ever had cold brew, here's why cold brew brew up in the new style brewing, and most people drink like crappy coffee. That's why it tastes bitter. That's why it tastes like. That's why it tastes like burnt. That's crappy coffee. That's not how good coffee actually tastes. It doesn't taste anything like when you get Folgers coffee or anything else, Starbucks, Pete's, and tea leaf, and like you try coffee black and there's like that linkness to it. Not how coffee actually tastes. That's because over roasted and it's just coffee. Good coffee actually is smooth like drinking. So imagine good flavor and smooth. There's no cons to it. So most people are used to drinking crappy coffee, and when they try cold brew, they go, "What is this amazing stuff?" I don't know if you remember, cold brew blew up in. If you're anyone coffee like knowledgeable, cold brew blew up. I mean, overnight, everybody's like, "I'm brewing my old cold brew. I buy cold brew concentration from places. A cold brew concentrate. I all like get is cold brew. All the CrossFit community loves cold brew. The reason why cold brew blew up is the nature of cold brew is actually like 60% less acidic than coffee when it's normally. Whether it just that statement, whether it's good coffee or bad coffee, cold brew that's brewed with good coffee or bad coffee, 60% less acidic because hot water never touches the bean. So hot water brings out acidity. So this is where like here's where I'm going. Right? So cold brew has the perception of better tasting coffee because it's less acidic. Now, you hear the word acidic and you mean automatically think bad, but just so you know, like tomatoes are acidic. There's acidity in like lemons. There's acidity in lime, orange. Acidity is good. Like when you're making a dish, right? If you like salt too much, like salt on its own, if you take salt like kosher salt and you put it in your mouth, oh that's gross. But you're not saying that when you add it to food, right? It like brings out good flavor. You would never have like salt on its own. It's gross, but salt is really good with food. So like acidity, you're thinking like acidity is bad because you hear it and you go, oh yeah, like stomach's acidic, high acidity. Like you just a lot of negativity equated with acidity, but acidity is not bad. So like, but too much acidity is bad though, right? Too much salt added to gross, but no salt is also gross. So the argument with cold brew is has a perceived better taste, acidic. You understand? You get what I'm saying? So like, yeah. So like, so when you brew coffee, hot water brings out the acidity. Cold water, when you brew cold brew, it doesn't bring out that acidity as much as hot water touching the beans. So there's a perceived like, oh, it's smooth. I mean, it is because it actually is less acidic. But I would argue, kind of like making cookies without adding salt. So like, if you make a cookie recipe with cookie like batter, there's salt in making sweets. I don't know if you guys know that now. When you make like baked goods, like there is salt in the recipe. You can't have no salt. But so with that being said, that's why cold brew has a perception as there's no like barely any acidity. But no acidity is not a good thing. But cold brew is a great way of just making easy drink coffee. But a lot of people argue that cold brew coffee really isn't like that good. It's just easy drink. So, for example, we talked about cold brew and iced coffee, right? Those are two different things. Iced coffee is you brew coffee hot, throw ice on it, iced coffee. Cold brew is hot water never touches the beans. It brews over time with the coffee grounds like sun tea. Now get this: if you brew, so like Starbucks used to do iced coffee, Coffee Bean used to do uh. I think you might have misunderstood what this category is. um, well, we did set it to cooking. We were actually brewing coffee live on stream, so but there is no coffee specific uh category, so it does kind of fall under cooking. Um, but it's the closest I can get. Yeah. So obviously we've moved on from brewing coffee. Now we're just talking about. But anyways, how you doing, Izuku? Um, but yes. Anyway, so there's the perception of like cold brew coffee tastes really good, less acidity. But so you have iced coffee and cold brew, right? So iced coffee will bring out the acidity, but too much acidity is bad, right? So if you coffee hot and then throw it over ice, it'll be good if you drink it right there and then. Let iced coffee sit, brew coffee, let it sit in the fridge. That acidity builds over time, and then that's what Starbucks and Coffee Bean and Peace were serving is a coffee that's brewed and like left in a fridge. And over time, the acidity is just getting stronger in the fridge. So cold brew came around, and you're like, oh, thank God, like iced coffee was like battery acid. But anyway, so with that being said, there was like a perceived better taste of cold brew because there's less acidity, but it's just a perception that it's tastes. If you were to take iced coffee, like if I were to take this coffee right now that I brewed, imagine I brewed it immediately and threw it over ice. That would have way more flavor and taste better than the cold brew. Um, but again, with crappy coffee, cold brew just tastes cold brew way. So with that being said, this specific coffee, the Lupi, Kovac, whatever it is, like the animal coffee, it has a perceived better taste because when the animals digest the coffee, even James Hoffman said that the bitterness and acidity is kind of reduced, so it gives like a perception of like it's easier drinking. So it's kind of like the cold brew craze, but people are drinking this coffee hot, so it's kind of like that. Is it there's less acidity, less like flavors in it, so you perceive it as taste less like acidity. Remember, less acidity isn't always a good thing, right? Like when you're making a dish, like want equal amounts of, or you want salt, you want everything, right? Like making things without salt. Like if you made like hamburger patties on the grill, you didn't use salt, it'd be pretty like flavorless, right? Use too much salt, it's gross. But you get what I'm saying? It's like there's nothing wrong with acidity. So that's why there's like kind of like that perceived like false narrative that this like animal coffee is good because it's like less acidic. But like we talked about cold brew, it's just like that's a perceived perception of it, right? So that's why it's like when spending all this money, $200 a bag of some people selling it, right? $200 a bag for this like animal coffee. It probably tastes better than the cheap coffee you're taking. So when you drink it, you're going, "Wow, this is amazing." But like if I took cold brew coffee and warmed it up and served it hot, you'd be like, "Whoa, this is amazing too." And it's like the same thing. It's a perceived taste because there's less of like bitterness or acidity. But again, those those elements are not bad overall. You need all those things to make. All that being said, that's why. You came in just to tell me that the category to chatting. Oh, coffee talk. Yeah, I know what he's talking about. He meant the game. Well, I knew what Azuku was saying. Talking about coffee talk the video. I remember. I don't know if you guys remember. I played that back in like 20 came out. But I think out then. It's a way of pulling people in, but I forget the people who play coffee talk are interested in coffee. interested in the dialogue of. So, anyways, yeah. So, with all that being said, don't spend money on that coffee. One, objective flavors and taste. You're literally just getting like cheap coffee, and because the animal ingested, there's like a perception of less acidity. So like you're getting fooled, like you're getting cold brew. Or not, you're not getting fooled like cold brew. You're not getting fooled when you get cold brew. But I mean like what we talked about, like cold brew has a perception that it tastes really good because there's just it's like making a dish with less salt. But again, salt's not bad. You need it, but too much salt is bad. Then number two, it's cruel. It's animal cruelty. You saw that. You saw how like maybe naturally when animals, oh, hey, nothing wrong with it. Like animals are wild. Let's harvest, whatever they drop, but like not bother them. Like that wasn't bad. But as soon as they took it to the level of like they're actually caging them, like force feeding them coffee, like that's criminal, bro. That's like animal cruelty. Okay? So like that's another reason what not. But anyways, yeah, let's continue on. Act. Should we get into some gaming? So there's two games I want to play through today. They become my TED talk. That's what just happened. I just got done with it. Hope that wasn't too much information. That was like information. But there's the combination of me drinking coffee and then talking about coffee is a bad combination. Why? Because I'm already interested in coffee without me drinking coffee. Now you got me hyped up on coffee, and now I'm talking about it. Yeah, it's just a bad combination. So every time you see me drinking coffee and then you think I'm gonna get on topic, then go, oh no, here we go. Get ready for TED talk. But before we transition to a time of gaming, let's take a quick break and we'll be Yo, yo, yo. Hold on, Nate. What's next? I would say let's move on to play Mario game. You know, we got some chipping away to, don't we? we got some work to do, don't we, Nate? We're gonna make it to Mario game. So last night we beat Rain Shower, but unfortunately to get the fire attack, we've got game. So I saw that on RetroArch there was, or not retro. I saw in the game that we played Mario's. Again, we played the other Smith. Get it? Yeah, what it says we actually already beat Cement Factory. Back in March. That was on a different Game & Watch. We're gonna have to play it again on this Game & Watch down just for the sake of getting us stars. Alright, yes sir. Tags. Okay, let's go ahead and pause the music. Get game up and running. Seven out of 67 achievements. Oh, you know what? It's not Mario Cement Factory, it's Mario Bros. This is actually on our list, I think. We've already beat it in April. Beat both Mario Bros. And Mario Cement. Beat Mario Cement Factory 4th and Mario Bros. On April. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, we were. Strap yourselves in, boys. Whatever is. Oh my gosh, this is gonna take forever, bro. Get back to work. Quick. My good. Whew. Okay, now it's getting a little complicated here. Jeez. Wait, Mario, we need you. Back up here. Who's Mario? Who's Luigi? That's the question. Guessing it's Luigi on the right. The dude looks a little like both in that position. The graphics look better. Yeah, they do. Maybe we should play modern version and find out. Yeah, I'd say after we beat this, let's also play the modern, so we can get stars from both. So I'm only playing the classic version, so we get this attack. You get stars both from modern and classic, right? So like we can grind both out and use for our stars. Oh. That's getting hard. Dude, I'm like dividing my like I'm playing polyrhythms. Like a little jazz. Holy. Oh, so we hit the 100 mark. Wow, only 900 more to go. Truck's ready to go. Need 2 more. Oh my gosh, I'm an idiot. I'm sitting there watching that. Just one more, brother. Need one more from your brother Luigi. Guess this is and ask for a raise. I mean, this might be a bad time to ask for a raise. Yeah. I'm on my second lap. Nice. What's your or how? What's your what's the map you're taking or what's the route you're taking? You're going on the strand up and down. From what point to what point? Kind of annoying how they like. It's really annoying how they set you like back on the platform you were not on, dude. Yay, we hit the 200 mark. My goodness. Usually Torrance to Manhattan twice. Okay. You go all the way. So on the strand, do you take okay, so do you take Torrance, do you go all the way down to like the ramp in Torrance, like where the shack is at? Like the very edge? And then go to Manhattan? Yep, the shack. Okay. Right, time for a break. That was some fast finger tapping right there to get down. Boom. Wait, what? No. Whoops. Oh no. Gonna pull me back down. Dang it. Hey, this. Yeah, why is the 300? It almost looks like a birthday cake at some. Take a break. Take a break. Please. Wait, what? Jeez. Hey, we hit the 500 mark. My goodness. You know, let's let's pause there. That's gonna take a while. I can even do that off stream. We've already beaten that game. I don't need to document it. That's one of those things I can grind off stream so that it'll help us just get to lock and fire attack. At least we unlocked Donkey Kong. Oh yeah, we need to play that one. Pick. All right, well, let's get into playing our next game. Guys. Duty. But now let's continue through Call of Duty. We're working on that franchise playthrough of all the Call of Duty games. So we're continuing with OG Call of Duty. Doom, eh? Yep, it's taking us back here.
That's your last gun. Let's mop up and get out of here.
Yep.
First platoon, listen up. Sergeant Moody owes me $50 because it looks like Operation Overlord was a success. Our British and Canadian friends took most of their objectives. And except for Omaha, all the beach landings went pretty smoothly. The airborne was misdropped everywhere, but the men formed mixed units and accomplished most of the airborne D-Day objectives. I am extremely proud of all of you. As you know, Sergeant Moody and Privates Elder and Martin broke through German lines to get word to battalion headquarters. If it wasn't for their success, HQ probably would not have sent the reinforcements that helped us hold St. Mary-Glise. At headquarters, Moody, Elder, and Martin were assigned to silence a German battery at Breakour Manor and faced an entire platoon of Germans with only a handful of men. Well, it seems that someone at command noticed your actions. Our unit has been detached from the rest of the 101st so that it can be used for some special missions behind enemy lines. I suggest that you brush up on your German, gentlemen, and enjoy your R&R while you can.
Seems that a couple of British officers, Captain Price, I was always confused by the timeline or the what is canon on canon. So there's a Captain Price in these OG games. There's also a Captain Price in the Modern Warfare games, and obviously people can have the name Price, but it's very odd when you have two characters in a game with the same name. It was almost like, were you even like thinking, like, is this Captain Price's son in the Modern Warfare games, or like, what happened? Major Ingram were shot down somewhere over enemy territory. I don't know who these guys are, but they must be pretty important or know something. Austria to rescue them. Intelligence sources say the two officers were killed in the Alps. Frog hidden it by and are.
There's an MG-42 on the left, with a guardhouse on the right. They didn't spot me.
Let's hope. Captain Price and Major Ingram?
Probably in the big house up the road.
Martin,
Basically an automatic
knock out that 42.
Handbook.
Harding and Brooks, go get the truck. Meet us at the front of the chateau.
Be able to run out.
Everyone else, follow Martin.
It will be like it. Getting. Whoops. We can't shift. Pressing forward yet.
Verstärkung schicken! Übernehmen Sie mit 3 Männern die
Good work,
Flanke!
Martin.
Ich gebe Ihnen
Everyone breathe
Feuerschutz!
deep, catch your breath. Now let's do it all over again.
Wir
Parents have a
wollen
desk.
keine Ladehemmungen!
Because my grandpa.
Covering fire!
In the back, I guess.
Ah! Suppressing fire! Martin, get in there, grab any docs, knock out their communications, then meet back up with us. Sergeant Moody and I will find Price and Ingram. Cover me!
Sure, Martin.
Oh, Pete. Way to go. Okay. This was horrible.
Fire at will!
Don't go in there, you idiot. Whoa, whoa.
Sie kommen von links! Fight them!
shoot me again with a fire. My goodness. Oh!
Good job. All right, guys, we're moving on. Cover me! Don't stop now. Right behind these doors. Stand back. We're gonna blow them. Suppressing fire!
Well, goodness me, Americans.
Why does this dude look exactly like the Captain Price Modern Warfare game?
Made quite a racket, didn't
Did you
you?
even think about this?
That's quite all right. I can still walk.
Captain Price, Captain Foley. Where's Major Ingram?
They moved him to a camp. Not to worry, I overheard where.
Truck's out front, sir. Excellent. Help Captain Price out the window. He's been hurt. Let's pile in. We're getting out.
Captain, what about Major Ingram?
We'll be back for him. Get in.
Well, let's call it there for the stream. We've been for 2 hours now. Get some coffee, play a little Mario, play a little Duty, watch some videos. Maybe we'll try to make that like a Saturday morning session if the schedule works out. But maybe I'll try to do it earlier, like starting around like actually like 8 or 9, or we have more time to play. Make coffee, but I don't know. Maybe we can turn that into a Saturday thing where we make coffee, watch a coffee video, play some games. A little bit of different setting, but yeah. With that being said, you guys have a good rest of your Saturday. Thank you, Jesse, Nate, everybody for stopping by, Kevin, and I'll